Well, thanks everyone. Today we're going to talk about a roadmap to successfully branding your local food business. A lot of these lessons can be applied to any business, but the examples are going to try and use mostly local food business examples just to kind of make it more relevant in that particular industry. So here's the deal. Most companies make this one mistake in their branding, and it costs them thousands, if not millions of dollars. And here's the mistake that they make, most often make. The customer isn't the hero of their marketing story. And I'm going to unpack what that looks like and then what it should look like to do a better job in branding anything, but especially a food-based business. So here it is. This is the trap that they fall into most of the time. They get really clever with the marketing materials they produce. And the note here is that the enemy of clear is clever. Really, it is. Most of what you want to put together in your marketing framework has to be simple. People have to be able to remember it, and if it's complex, they won't. They're just going to opt out and not pay attention. The second part is you have to make your customer the hero, not your brand. It's not about the company history. It's not about the struggles that you went through as a company. It's not about those things. It is about what the customer wants and how you can fit your products and services to solve their problems. And these are the two things that really consist of what I call the marketing trap that most companies fall into. So this is what it looks like if they've fallen into this kind of a trap. This is what you can go look and see on their website or social media, and this is exactly what you'll find. The company as hero message, like the company is the hero in everything that's produced. So if you look at their message, it's all about them, their history as a company, as an organization, other similar facts. If you look on their website, it's probably a little bit confusing. It's not clear as to what they really offer and why. And the third thing is if you look at their social media postings, they focus on telling the company's story and those trials and tribulations. And, oh, by the way, here's our product. But they really don't communicate empathy for the customer's problem and how to position their brand in such a way to solve that problem. And that's what it looks like if the company is the hero. Now, if the customer is the hero, you have a very different message. The message is all about solving that customer's problem, and you do it in two ways to build trust. One, you empathize with the customer. We understand it's difficult to do online marketing in the food business, or we understand it's complex to do Google and Facebook ads. I mean, you try to empathize with the problem that a company might have, right, or a customer would have. And then the authority piece is you want to sprinkle in, not only do I understand the problem, but we've been helping companies solve this problem for 100 years. And here's how we do it in 3 steps, 1, 2, 3. So the authority piece has to be there as well. If you see a customer as a hero message, this is one of the most obvious things that you'll note about anything that they post. On the website, they'll clearly communicate their product and service, how it solves a customer's problem. And this can be sort of aspirational, right? It could be a place where the customer wants to go. For a food business, you may be talking to customers who are buying ready-made meals. So you're really trying to aspire or show them that if they purchase your meals, that they're not going to have to spend time cooking dinner and losing time with their family. And it's that kind of language that you'd want to use if you're really trying to connect with people, if you're selling that kind of a food-based business, product. So you'll see on the website, they clearly communicated this. That's one of the other things. The third thing is the social media posts will show how solving a customer's problem makes their life better. They're going to save time. They're going to save money. They're going to be happier. They're going to be able to spend more time with their family. They're going to be able to go on vacation. They're going to have all these other things they can do because, the customer has had their problem solved by the company. And that's really the biggest thing that you'll notice, these 3 things. Anytime the customer is the hero of the story instead of the company. So here's a good brand message test. You can apply to any kind of social media posts. It could be the website, anything, even their one-liner. What's the product or service? How does it make the customer's life better? And how do I buy or engage? What's the step? What do I do? What are the sort of the calls to action? So I'll give you an example. Let's think about the brand message test, what I just talked about. Take a look at this website for 10 seconds, and I'm going to ask you those same 3 questions. My guess is you can't answer any of the questions. Number one was, what is the product or service? Well, it should be listed on the large font in front of me. All I know at this point is my journey starts here. I don't know where I am, first of all. I don't know where I'm going, second of all. And Artisan Innovative Solutions really doesn't tell me anything about the product or how it's going to make my life better. So when you see websites like this is where there's confusion, and oftentimes it's because the customer is not the hero of the story. If he or she was the hero, you would see language on there to connect with them better about solving their problem. So I'll give you some examples, and we're talking about food-based businesses. This is one that appeals to a lot of consumers, and they have their language here. And this is America's most popular meal kit. And then underneath that is a really simple call to action: view our plans. And it even puts the price in there. Now offering the most recipe variety and meals starting at $6.99. So really clear image, very simple text, very, very easy call to action to understand. Very, very simple. The next one is a website called Dinnerly. They do the same kind of thing. They have recipes, and you can see this. The question they ask is connecting to the problem the customer has. Need a hand with dinner? Who are they talking to? They're talking to me if I'm buying this as a customer. So they're telling me, get simple recipes and fresh ingredients delivered to your door. So I know what the product is. I know what the service is. I know how it's going to make my life better because I'm not going to have to cook. Or if I am, I'm not going to have to go search and get all the ingredients. And then the call to action is get started. And if I'm already a member, I see in the upper right-hand corner, I'm going to sign up. I'm going to be ready to go. So this is really clean, clear brand messaging that fits the problem of the customer or solves the problem the customer has. Here's another one. You may be familiar with this. This is Blue Apron. This is even cleaner. There's even less wording. It says, order our top-rated recipes today. Get started. That's the call to action, is to get started. They could have used 10 different things, but look how clean and neat it is. It's not confusing. I can see in the background the meals. I'm going to be able to click and choose on pricing or on the menu, whatever I want to do up above. So it's all very clean, very easy to understand. And again, this is because they're talking to the customer. This website does it, Dinnerly does it, and this one does as well. All of these are speaking to the consumer who's going to be preparing meals. And that's the kind of language that you want to see when the hero of your story in the marketing is really the customer, not the company. So here's what I'd like to cover. I'm going to talk a little bit about what marketing and branding are and what they're not. I've got a brand value goal setting exercise I'd like to show you. And then I think there are really 7 secrets to building a successful brand online, and especially brand value. I'd like to take you through those. And then what are the next steps for your business? How can we help? How can you take the next steps to build brand value for your company? And then some final things, tools and resources to help you take those steps and make them action. Then, of course, I'll answer any questions at the very end. Marketing is the activity, the set of things that we do to put out our story, our message. It's what we're telling society, our clients, our customers. It is what we're telling them, okay? Branding is a very different thing. A brand is a customer experience represented by a collection of a lot of different things. Images, it could be colors, it could be the logo, it could be the slogan, it could be even the design of a website. You know, I just showed you 3 examples. Those branding designs are all very different, but they're all very simple and very clear. So, you know, branding and marketing are very different. Here's the main difference, okay? Marketing is what you do online and elsewhere to tell customers about your products and services. It's what you're telling them. Branding is what customers say about you based on their experiences with your products or services. So it's really in the minds of the consumer, you know, what is that experience and what is it like? And what do I remember from it? So I'll give you an example. If prices are absolutely the same for all 6 bottles of water here in front of you, so price makes no difference, which one would you choose? Well, if you're familiar with one and you like it, you're probably going to choose that one. If you're not, you're going to look for other elements. Maybe the bottle design itself is attractive. Maybe the color of the bottle is what you like. Maybe you like a certain aspect of it. Maybe you think you like the tall bottles better than the short ones. You know, there's all sorts of things that connect to your experience. And this is a decision we make probably every day as to buying a bottle of water somewhere. We're on the road or anything else. We're choosing, and we make this choice very, very quickly based on our experience with the brand. And that's basically how we choose. So let's talk about the value then. How do we successfully build brand value? And let's first talk about what it actually is. So the brand value framework I'm going to talk about, we've done a few papers from it. I put the references here so you can go back and look at them. But the basics of it is this. You want to set 3 goals. So brand value has to do with building your brand assets. And on social media, this is followers and fans. On your website, it's going to be number of visits to your website, exposure. The second part is building an awareness of your message, how you use empathy and authority to communicate to your consumer or your customer that you solve problems for them and you can do that. And the third is really brand engagement. This is what people sometimes refer to as vibe and tribe. It's basically how do you connect with your community? Who is it that you're connecting with? Who are the customers that you're connecting with? And what do you have in common? What do all of them have in common? I guarantee you they're going to have in common some frustration with some problem they have. And if you do it right as a company, you can solve that problem and build community. And that's really the basic 3 things to focus on if you're investing in building a brand value online. This is what it looks like. Brand value is made up of 3 pieces: brand assets, brand awareness, and brand engagement. The assets, the larger they get, the larger a value that they create for an organization. The larger it is online, the more awareness it has. I know if you look on some of the social media platforms, the larger you get, eventually you're going to be certified and you have a blue check. And that, again, is another identity verification, kind of a quality measure. So the larger the brand asset gets, the more people you can connect to. The second piece is brand awareness. So this is really about your message of how you solve a problem for a customer. And that is because it's a product or service you're offering to solve that problem. So how you message is all connected to that. And that, again, builds brand value. And the third piece is really the feedback loop. It's really the brand engagement. What are people saying online about you? What are they doing with reviews? Maybe it's on your Facebook page. Maybe if you're a restaurant, you have a Yelp high rating. What is it that you're doing with brand engagement to really build customer loyalty value? That's really what we're talking about. So 3 pieces of the brand value framework. So here are 7 secrets to successfully building brand value. Those are the pieces of it. Those are your goals, and all these things that I'm about to tell you will actually help contribute to building those values around your brand. So here's the number 1, secret number 1. You have to know your customer. You have to know all sorts of things about your customer. And if you don't know about your customer, social media, website, everything else isn't going to help you. You've got to know who you're targeting, and that's first and foremost. So, for example, maybe you're starting a business. I used an example here from Facebook. I can go online and use a Facebook page, and I can look to see how many people are around my business in the city of Starkville, Mississippi, as an example. And I can select a 10-mile radius. I could select a little bigger radius if I wanted to. And you can see on the screen, this is the checkbox. It's in the middle of the city. And then if I know more about my customers, maybe I'm targeting men and women, and maybe it's between the ages of 25 and 55. So the more information I know about a customer, the more information I can use in this kind of an ad tool to really figure out how many people are in my area geographically, but are also online on Facebook, so that I figure out where my customers are not only living, but also where they're engaged at on a particular ad platform. So this is Facebook. You can do the same thing with Instagram. You do the same thing with Twitter. You can do that with a lot of them. Just use the tool to figure out where your customers are. Now, the more information I know, the better I can use this tool. If I know more things about their education, other purchasing habits that they have online, any of those things are going to really help me build and understand where my customers are and how to reach them. And that's going to build brand value for me because I'm going to have revenue, and you've got to have revenue in a business. So here's an example. We did this with some farmers markets in the state of Mississippi a while back. And what we did is under projects, under the Bricks and Clicks website, you can look up projects, click on that. It'll take you to this screen. And this is really where we looked at every farmers market in the county, in each county of the state. And we tried to estimate using that Facebook tool how many people are likely to visit the farmer's market within a 5 to 10 mile radius. And that's the kind of tool that we use to estimate that. Once you figure out the number of visits that could potentially happen in the area for your business or your farmer's market, then you can estimate revenue. There's additional things that we use to do that as well. But I'm just saying you can use these ad tools to really know more about your customer, where they live, their buying habits, and many other things. And this is an example of how we used Facebook in a project. Secret number 2, you have to know your message. It has to be clear. If you don't tell very, very quickly what is my message about my product or service, how does it make my life better, and how do I get it, then you're missing out. Your message is going to be confusing, and when you confuse people, you lose. You're going to lose money. So remember the brand test. What's the product or service? How does it make the customer's life better? And how do I buy or engage? Those are the 3 things you can always apply a brand message test to. And if it doesn't do those 3 things very, very quickly, then it's confusing. And when it's confusing, people don't listen to it. Now, if you want to clarify your message, there's a free tool you can use. You can go to mystorybrand.com, it's shown here on the screen, and you can type in and complete an entire what they call brand script. The brand script is the backbone for creating a clear message for your company. It'll carry through all of your marketing, your email, everything, social media. And what you can do is it goes through this kind of a framework where it has character, has a problem, meets a guide, who gives them a plan, who calls them to action, and they're either successful or not. It's going to take you through this kind of an example, and you're going to answer this for your own company. And I assure you, if you answer these questions, you're going to clarify how your customer is going to be the hero in your marketing story. And that's the path that you need to take. Secret number 3 is all about social media. So where are your customers engaging? You have to know that. So for example, the majority of Americans now use Facebook and YouTube. That's no surprise to anybody at this point. If you use any social media, you know that. Everybody else is down below them fighting it out, and Instagram is at the top of that list as well. Of course, Facebook owns Instagram, so they really have the bookends of social media. And this shows % of U.S. adults who say they are using social media sites online or on their cell phone. And you can see Facebook and YouTube are fighting it out. Also, the reason the ad platform exists within Facebook and the other social platforms is because people are online every day and several times a day. This shows the majority of Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram users visit the platforms on a daily basis, and that's what you need. If you're a food-based business advertising, this is a good thing for you. You can reach people on these platforms. You just have to know who it is you're targeting. This shows Facebook is still in the lead in terms of several times a day. There's 51% of people are on Facebook multiple times during the day. Secret number 4. Okay. It's not showing, so let me go to a different screen. Secret number 4, know your content. Listen, the only reason people are going to share your content is because it gives them value. That's it. If you don't produce valuable content, people aren't going to share it. People aren't going to be engaged. So if you're going to do anything and take a step forward in creating content, think about how you can organize to create video content. The fact of it is, we remember 95% of a message by video compared to just a simple text message or image, which we only remember 10% of the time. So video is king. How can you use video in your business? Think about Facebook Live. Think about Instagram Live. Think about Instagram TV. Think about all the different ways that you could use some social media as adding value to your customers by providing video content. Maybe for a food-based business, it's all about the recipe, how you make it. Maybe it's the benefits that you give by eating wherever the food it is. There's all sorts of things that you can do for that. Secret number 5, you have to have a sales funnel. It has to be clear. You have to know how you're bringing people into the sales funnel and how you're going to get them to convert to be a paying customer. And that's really what you have to figure out. How do you use your website? How do you use your social media? How do you use all of your branding to bring about someone who is going through the funnel that's going to become a customer, a paying customer, so that you move them from being a follower to someone who's actually giving you money for your business? You've got to know what your sales funnel is. If you don't, you can't write it down. This is a real hurdle that you've got to cross first and foremost. Secret number 6, you've got to have goals. I mentioned the brand value goals earlier. You can have a very specific set of goals that you can achieve. I want to grow my social media following by 40% a year from now. That's my goal. I want to grow by, 50% in engagement, whatever it is. Those are the types of things that you need to get organized to have as a plan on how you're going to accomplish those goals. And if you have goals, the next thing that you're going to know that you need is a budget. Because remember, in the value framework I talked about earlier, we're talking about growing brand assets, which in this case are social media assets. So you have to know, how much money am I going to spend this year on my ad budget? If you don't know that, typically what happens, companies spend about 2 to 7% of annual gross sales. That's a broad average measure. Some companies in startup mode spend a lot more than that. And especially if you're in retail business, you may spend a lot more than that. But again, you have to know what your budget is. I put it last because if you can answer the other 6 things when you get to this stage, then it's all about how much money do you have for marketing and advertising, and then how are you going to allocate it to the other things we've talked about. So here are the 7 secrets I really think that will give you a roadmap. You have to know your customer. You have to know what your message is, and it has to be clear. You have to know your social media, where your customers online and engaging. You have to know your content. Is it going to be video-based? If it is, how are you going to do that? Secret number 5, you have to know your sales funnel. How are you going to move people from being visitors to your website to being paying customers? How are you going to move people from social media followers to paying customers? There has to be a plan for that. And the 6th thing is you have to know what those goals are. How are you going to grow your brand value? Those 3 things we talked about earlier. And then finally, what is your budget for actually doing all of these 6 things? That all together represents sort of what I call the 7 secrets of really unlocking a way for you to build brand value. Next steps for your food-based business, or any business really, but here they are. You'd want to do the research and learn your customer, first and foremost. I gave you an example of how you can use Facebook ad tool to do some of those things. There are lots of other things you can do on research to do that, but that's definitely one you can do. Number 2, you have to develop a clear message that customers want to hear. The customer has to be the hero, not your company, but the customer. The brand script on the free resource at storybrand.com can help you do that. It can help you clarify your message. The 3rd piece, and maybe this should have been part of the earlier presentation, but you really need professional images. If nothing else, you can buy some stock images, but listen, you're never going to go wrong investing in the imagery for your company in terms of making the brand look really, really good. You want great professional images. If you don't have them, get them. There is no way to bypass that. Number 4, build a social media calendar for the next 30 days. What are you going to post on Monday through Saturday, Sunday? What are you going to post? Lay that out for 7 days, okay? Run it 7 days and see what people like. And then for the next 7 days, give them more of the content that they like. And that's how you can adapt it and build it into a 30-day calendar. And by the end of 30 days, you'll start to see a lot of content that you can continue to increase, and some content you'll probably decrease. So use all that you can to lay out that 7-day calendar and then repeat it and then just update it as you go. The 5th one, build a website that clearly communicates how you solve a problem for your customer. Make the hero of the story your customer on your website. We had examples earlier of one that's not very clear. Then we had some that are very, very clear for a food-based business. So look at that. Really focus on how you tell a very clear story of your business, your food business, how it solves a problem for the consumer. What is that problem? The 6th thing is you're going to have to learn and evolve with online learning. This stuff is going to continue to advance. Websites, the design of them are still going to be changing. You're going to have to continue to learn. But one thing's not going to change, and that is having a clear message. A clear message is robust to time. It doesn't matter what platform we put it on. It doesn't matter if we use it on a website or an email marketing series. It just doesn't matter. If you have a clear message, you are on your way to creating a solid piece of value for your brand. That is really, really important. So remember, most companies make the mistake, and it costs them millions and millions of dollars. And that is, they don't make the customer the hero in the story. So some reminders of the pitfalls to avoid. You want to avoid these things. Remember, don't get clever. Make it simple. Make it very, very simple for customers to understand how you solve their problem. Number two, always make them the hero. Add empathy and authority, things that you've done before, how you've solved the problem for customers before. That's really your authority. Empathy is we understand the problem and show them how you solve it. So you want to avoid doing the opposite of those things. This is the brand test you can use. You can always apply it to any message. It could be website, it could be social media, it doesn't matter, it still holds. What's the product or service? How does it make the customer's life better? And then how do I buy or engage? What are my next steps? 3 easy steps, whatever they are. This you can apply to every type of brand message and it works. So remember, the customer is the hero of your marketing story. If you do that right, you're going to have lots of business, your revenue is going to grow, and you're going to solve a lot of problems for a lot of people out there with your business. So a few bonus resources as we wrap up. I've got the links here for you to go to. This is on storybrand.com. You can go to the 5 things your website should include, get the free PDF. You can also go to the 5minutemarketingmakeover.com website. These are 3 videos that Don Miller does to really help you understand how you should change your website to reach more people and to clarify your message so that you can increase your revenue. That's the whole point. So you can watch all those videos. All this is free. It's on the website, storybrand.com. If you have struggles you still want to do more with working on your brand messaging, your food-based business, you can reach out to me and be glad to work with you. You can schedule a call or you can just shoot me an email, either one.